Alright, so here's the rematch with Lanky Orangutan, the guy I battled, last time. And, yeah, he showed up to the stream again, and he wanted another battle, and I'm like, alright, this is an opportunity for me to get some revenge here. And, hopefully I can, and, let's go ahead and get into it. This is an OU match, just like the last one. And, yeah, there's not a whole lot else to say about that. So, let's go ahead and do it. We both have different teams than we did last time. And, yeah, a new game, let's do it. Alright, so I did the Garchomp as he leads with a Jirachi. He goes, for the U-turn, which is actually exactly what I wanted, pretty much. And, yeah, he's gonna end up hurting himself more than he ends up hurting me, due to my, recoil. And, yeah, he is gonna switch out, though, and, I'm going to be able to set up some Stealth Rocks, so that's going to, be a nuisance for him the whole game. He ends up going into Gardevoir, which is pretty obviously the Mega variety of Gardevoir, looking at his team. And, yeah, I really don't want to stay in and take a potentially Fairy move, so I do decide to switch out into my Mega Metagross. And, he ends up making a pretty good play, just going for the Will-O-Wisp, which is, actually a pretty safe play. It would have really hurt me if I stayed in with Garchomp or anyone else, since, yeah, and not to mention that my switch into Metagross, looking at my team, was probably the obvious one. And, yeah, it is going to hurt Metagross with the residual damage, not to mention the halving of my attack. However, I still do kind of think that I can do some nice damage to at least this with Meteor Mash. I kind of figured he might switch, but I decided to stay in and go for it. Meteor Mash is still a very powerful move. Mega Metagross is a very strong Pokemon, so I'm thinking, okay, at least I can get some damage despite the burn, right? So he goes into his own Garchomp, which is another Bulk Chomp, I think. And, yeah, I end up going for the Meteor Mash, and I get the attack boost, which is huge, actually. That was key. And as you can see, he has Rough Skin, but he doesn't actually have the Rocky Head, and something to use the leftovers. And because of that attack boost, I feel confident now. I do have the Ice Punch. I know I can stay in. It's X4 effective. I have the attack boost. It doesn't quite cancel out the burn, but it gets my attack to reasonable levels that I feel safe that I can KO this Garchomp, and I do, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, I don't know if I needed the attack boost, but it definitely helps. So now he goes into a Azumarill here, and yeah, I'm just going to kind of stay in and Zen Headbutt for as much damage as I can. Obviously, Meteor Mash would have been stronger, but I was hoping for the flinch, to be honest. But yeah, he is going to now kill me with the Foul Play after the burn. But yeah, Mega Metagross is one of those super powerful Pokemon in OU. And as you can see, despite the burn, it pretty much destroyed it killed a Pokemon and crippled another. So that is some nice work from Metagross. Regardless, I go out into my Goodra, and I just go for the Thunderbolt, which does KO. This is my Assault Vest Goodra, and it's a bulky son of a bee. I decided to stay in, not knowing what this Gardevoir was going to do. If he's going to try to predict me and go for the Will-O-Wisp again, I didn't really want to risk it. So I do stay in and just go for the Sludge Wave. He ends up just going for the Fairy move, and he ends up getting it to a KO. I was thinking maybe he would switch it up this turn too, but he doesn't, so pretty good play for him. I still got some damage, though, next to my Goodra Special Bulk with Sludge Wave, which puts this Gardevoir in pretty bad range, and he's just going to actually stay in on this Iron Head, and I'm able to get rid of it, so that's pretty cool. This is a Choice Scarf Excadrill, so maybe he didn't know that, but now he definitely does, and he goes out into Talonflame, which does resist the Iron Head. I do have to switch out, and looking at Team Preview prior to this battle, I noticed it didn't have an item, so I know this is going to be probably a bulk-up set with Acrobatics, so I know it's not Choice Banded, and that's pretty huge. I go out into my Garchomp. Now, Garchomp doesn't have a move that can really hurt Talonflame, but I really do need to get this switch in order to get a switch back into Excadrill, which is a Choice Scarf Excadrill, as I said, and has Rock Slide. He's just going to go for the Will-O-Wisp, and he ends up getting it on Excadrill, which, yeah, kind of sucks. It would have been sucked more if he went for a Fire move to predicting this, but I didn't think he would, considering I had Garchomp out. Either way, he's going to go out into Jirachi now to absorb the predicted Rock Slide, which is a good move. And, yeah, I pretty much have to switch out again because this Jirachi is obviously not going to be taking much damage at all from that. So, yeah, I'm just going to go right back into Garchomp because I feel confident that I can take whatever this Jirachi wants to do, not to mention, and, you know, hurt him with my recoil stuff. And he's just going to go for the U-turn again, and he's probably going to go right back into that Talonflame, who is at full health thanks to going for the Roost earlier. And, yeah, that's okay. So, this time, no, he ends up going to Scizor, by the way. And, I was like, okay, I'm actually pretty confident against this Scizor because I do have the, Fire Blast, just basically 4 Scissors and Ferrothorns. So that's what I do. I just go for the Fire Blast. It's X4 effective. Doesn't quite kill the Scizor. It does seem to be, I mean, it's usually, I think, I think it can one-hit KO Scissors. I'd have to run the damage calcs again. Either way, this might be a bulky one, or I just got min damage. But, yeah, he ends up getting a Swords Dance, and just goes for that Bullet Punch. But due to my physical bulk, I take that actually pretty well, and he's just going to die to the recoil. So that's pretty cool. But now this does give him an opportunity to go back into Talonflame. And since my Extra Drill is already burned, and I also thought he would predict it, I decided to actually stay in. The worst I can do to this Talonflame, though, is Toxic. But I figure, you know what? The residual damage is going to be useful to me. This thing doesn't have, like, leftovers, so obviously it's going to be losing HP per turn, but I really cannot afford to let it get bulk ups. I think I can take an Acrobatics after one bulk up with my Extra Drill, but I have to switch now because he's probably going to go for the bulk up, and I don't want him to have two. So I go into my Extra Drill. This means that he's going to get the bulk up off, and I have to hope that I can survive one Acrobatics after the bulk up, which I do resist. He can't afford to go for a fire move because then I would outspeed him since Gale Wings would not trigger. And, yeah, he can't afford to go for that because I have Rock Slide, and he knows it. So he is going to go for that Acrobatics, knowing that he can't afford to really use the Flare Blitz. And I do survive and get off a Rock Slide, which, due to my burn, I'm not able to actually KO it, despite being X4 effective, but it does get it down low enough that he cannot afford to roost. Because if he roosts, then I get off another Rock Slide, and he's just going to die to Toxic. So it's basically a trade now. He has to kill me, but that is going to make his Talonflame go down to Toxic this turn. And that was pretty excellent for me, because I'm able to take out this Talonflame, which really was his last chance to sweep me on this team. I have 3 Pokemon left, including my own Talonflame, so I'm going to go out into that against his Jirachi, which is his last Pokemon. I know this is a Choice Scarf Jirachi, but I'm just going to go for the Flare Blitz anyway. He's basically going to need to get like 6 or 7 Iron Heads in order to, Iron Head flinches in order to kill me. And eventually I do get off a a Flare Blitz for the win. Even if he would have taken down Talonflame, I still had Keldeo in reserve, which also resists Iron Head, not to mention my Garchomp that I could have gotten actually recoil damage off with, so... Either way, good game there, Lanky Orangutan. We're going to have a third match sometime to break the tie, but you're an excellent battler still, and yeah, that's a very good match. So I talked a little bit about knowing his Talonflame set earlier, at the beginning of the match due to Team Preview, and in reality, Team Preview lets you know all 6 Pokemon. As for me, I'm a little nostalgic about Gen 4, about how they were before Team Preview, when you had to learn your opponent's 6 Pokemon as you play, which allowed for some, surprises in the match as opposed to right now in Gen 6. And a lot of Pokemon like Electivire is pretty much, lost playability because of Team Preview. You can no longer surprise people with Motor Drive and other abilities like that. So my today's question of the day is, do you prefer the Team Preview setup that was introduced in Gen 5 and extended to Gen 6, or would you like to see a return of no Team Preview like Wi-Fi was in Gen 4? Leave a comment about that, and hope to see you guys again next time. Bye.